The Volvo EX30 has been on the market for, well, about a model year at this point, and it has quickly become one of the most discussed EV crossovers around, and in my opinion, one of the more interesting vehicles in Volvo's lineup. Now, we are out here in sunny Southern California to give it a spin, and we're not just giving a spin in any EX30, we're starting with the 2026 Volvo EX30 Cross Country, which is the adventure-y kind of off-road rugged version of the small EV crossover, and well, we've got a lot of ground to cover. No pun intended, so let's get started. Let's get into it. This has been quite a big release for Volvo. This is their most affordable EV in the lineup, and it's made this splash because not only is it just the most affordable EV, but they have lavished quite a bit of unique attention to this car. They've made it so that this absolutely does not feel entry level, and really in any way, shape, or form. One of the most fascinating things about the EX30 is just delightful this thing is packaged. I mean, all the little fixtures are unlike anything else you really see in a mainstream market. Little clear plastic tabs for these very interesting vent design right here in the center. Versus other Volvos, we've got a new freestanding center screen here with Google built in. This is a nice textured little trim piece here, which gives way to even a different kind of matte frosted soft touch plastic on the dash here. You've got a hideaway 2-level floor here on the lower portion of the center console, which acts as, you know, you can put papers and more important stuff hidden underneath, and you can kind of toggle the doors open and closed as needed. And there's so many of those surprise and delight features. I keep discovering things. Like, I bumped my elbow here as I was handing something to our intrepid videographer in the back, and all of a sudden, look at that. Cup holders come out. And it's not like they just shoot out. It's well damped. And when you try to go back, it only goes back one at a time. So you can choose whether you have both exposed or one. I've been pretty vocal in the past about not being the biggest fan of software-defined vehicles, and those are vehicles that have all majority of their functions and controls embedded in the software, aka in a touchscreen. Volvo was a pretty early adopter of this, and they've gotten pretty good at it. I do like their new UX system. I'm not the biggest fan of setting and adjusting mirrors with buttons on the steering wheel, but somebody made a good point. If you actually own this vehicle, usually it's set it and forget it. Driver attention warning is somewhat intrusive, and while you can turn it off, I am at this point unsure of if it stays off, if it's like a key cycle or ignition cycle. And this is kind of a niche complaint. Volvo, with their focus on safety, you're not able to put the vehicle into drive without your seatbelt on. Yeah, I'm aware that's a pretty understandable safety feature, but if you're just moving something for parking, if you're just trying to, position a vehicle for photos, or your partner or your friend just needs you to move the car for some 2-second reason just to get ahead of something, won't let you put it on. Again, little things like that, but I'm only bringing that up because it's indicative of, little intrusive things here and there. And I would like a freaking retractable cover for this panoramic sunroof. Yeah, it's beautiful and nice to look at, but even if it does dim, it's going to get hot. Now, this specific one being the all-terrain, it needs all-wheel drive, so this comes in the dual motor configuration, which means 422 horsepower and just 400 pounds-feet of torque, which means a 0 to 60 time in well under 4 seconds. I'm not giving a specific number because this one has the optional all-terrain tires, so, you're out here cruising around, all of a sudden you floor it, and it's like, oh my goodness. You're not going to have any problem merging or passing or getting ahead of a car at a light. That is for sure. Now, on the subject of range, well, we don't really have hard figures for these quite yet, but it's estimated with these optional all-terrains to be around 230-ish miles, so that's pretty fairly usable. Speaking on those all-terrains, you'd think that they would pretty severely affect handling, and at this point, I have not driven a standard road tire EX30 of any type, but I gotta say, I'm not seeing any real squishiness or problem driving this thing around. Handles great, rides wonderfully, and I will say, if I were to buy an EX30, I'd probably get the Cross Country if I could afford it. The ride is a little bit taller. It's got 0.7 inches extra ground clearance over a standard version. The suspension has been softened up a little bit across the board to make it nicer over rougher terrain. And I think that pays huge dividends out on public roads, especially when there's, kind of bumps and crags and ditches and drainage stuff all over the place in construction. And that extra thick sidewall is also great in the cities for parking. You can be like me and bounce against the curb and go, oopsie, and the wheel is really not affected too much. In my opinion, it is quite difficult to engineer any sort of character into an EV, regardless of price or segment, let alone one that is considered to be the entry point into an automaker's lineup. And I think Volvo has done it in stride with the new EX30, especially this cross-country version. Well, it's great to look at, fantastic to drive, it's quite fun to drive as well. I love the packaging, I love the materials, I love the presentation. Dare I say it, I think Volvo has got a hit on its hands. Now, I have a lot more to say about the EX30, including the rest of the lineup, not necessarily just the cross country. So for my full thoughts and review, you gotta go to Cars.com/news.